career in data is like assembling a complex puzzle. Whether learning new skills or mastering stakeholder management, each piece is crucial to seeing the complete picture. Now discover how you can fit the pieces of your data career puzzle perfectly together in this episode. Because Rimta Das, who's the senior data analyst at West Wing, helps us put those puzzle pieces together so you can climb the data career ladder and achieve success in today's episode, brought to you in partnership by our friends at Amplitude. Coming up in today's episode, stakeholder management and stakeholder management challenges, and setting realistic expectations, and community engagement and knowledge sharing. So, stakeholder management can be really tricky, especially in the data world. Rimta, what are your key strategies for managing stakeholders effectively?
I know myself was an introvert. I would say now I am no more. And it has changed over the time how I have been in contact with a lot of stakeholders, a lot of clients, I would say, because I started my journey in a consultancy firm. And there are 3 years when you have to actually explain the clients who don't even understand like a simple formula in Excel. It's a bit tough, and that's when the things change, and obviously in that line, if you've got a good mentor, they let you know like how you usually deal with these things and how you actually come up with the solution, like, before you have to present it to your client or a stakeholder. Have a session with yourself, like maybe talk along in a wide screen and say what you really want to say to that person, because you know what you have done end to end, but now it's your job to present that end to end with a layman term, I would say, because, every stakeholder is not that technical. But how would you actually present to a layman person, not going into the details of what formula you have applied, what technique you have applied, but telling them what exactly this does. And along my journey, I have also come across this beautiful, Amazon principle, one of them. Actually, it says STAR principle, where you actually don't focus on a lot of techniques, but you say very, very simple 4 steps that what you have exactly done in your project. And it actually resonates a lot with your stakeholder, because they are not so much pro in it. So they will just understand, okay, what was the situation? What was the task you did? What was the analysis you did? And finally, what was the result? So basically a very simple STAR approach. Yeah, very simple STAR approach. And it exactly doesn't go into very details, but it relates with in a layman term with the stakeholders. So that's one way I have obviously worked over the years, that, you don't have to go into every time into details. You have to make the person understand, and how you can make them understand is the best way you are actually doing the stakeholder management. But there are scenarios, this is about, I'm telling just about like presenting stuff, but before that even it comes about, they come with a certain mindset, and you say, okay, I want to do XYZ problem solved, and you tell me I need this and this. Can you give me in 10 days, or can you give me in 5 days? What I have learned over the years is not to agree on the first, but to say, probably let's discuss, like, have a brainstorming session between us. I will put myself into their foot to understand what exactly they're looking for. Just one line of problem statement doesn't tell you what they're really looking for. Basically, more conversational, understanding them, where they're coming from, what they're exactly looking for. Maybe they are right that what they're asking for at the end for solving that problem is right. But it's also easier for you to also understand like why you are doing it, right? At the end, you should make sense that if your stakeholder is asking for something and you're just agreeing on it, why they're asking for it and what you're doing it, what they're asking for, right? So that's one thing I have learned over the years, that you do not agree on the first, and do not say yes every time on the first go, but do say yes, I understand the problem. Can we have a short discussion and understand more about it? Like maybe there is another solution, or maybe this is, I can mix up with something else to give you a better insight. And this has been loved by a lot of people. I know there are sometimes, there are stakeholders who are very, very, I would say, hard with a hard mind, who come, more better word to say, a stubborn mind, to come and they say, I need this. That's all. Don't think of other things. Just give it to me. Yes, you cannot do anything about it. But over the years, when you have that discussion with them, the same stakeholder, maybe not that time, but maybe have another one-on-one with them to understand what they are working on, what they are looking forward in their future. When you start connecting with the people, they are also more open and they're open to discuss further. I think this is what has actually improved my stakeholder management skill. I am not saying this is the best way, maybe, but there are many other ways to deal with it. But over the years, this has helped me a lot. And where I am today with the stakeholder management, stakeholder appreciating me, I would say this goes with this whole journey, like how I have evolved with starting from the only data provider to a data supporter, now a data consultant, I would say.
I love that. What then have you found the most challenging when it comes to stakeholder management?
I think I struggle with the most with higher stakeholders because, yes, I know they are a lot more experienced than me. They know the business more than me, definitely. But yeah, I also know that they are not that data driven because, they have been driving business a lot with the very high level numbers of profitability, ROI, and EBITDA, but not in a very granular data, right? So in those challenges, I remember there was one scenario when I was working for United Airlines back in the days, and I had to present one of the proof of concept to VP of operations there. He said in the start, I like the concept, but I don't understand why you are using this kind of data. And I literally told him that, I understand your perspective also because you have been handling this business for long. But let's give it just a test trial. You don't have to roll this out, proof of concept, to like every other operations in airport. But let's start with a basic one small airport and try it out. If it fails, we do not lose a lot, but just one test trial. And we did this test trial for 3 months. And it was a success where we saw basically the proof of concept was measuring a lot of supervisors' performance there. And it started improving because people, when they get to know how they are good at, they start performing and try to make themselves better. And that's what a VP of airport operations loved it and wanted to roll it out further. So it's not every time that, they will come across and they'll say, oh, Rimta, that's a very good option. Let's do it. It's not every time true in the world, in the current in the real world, I would say. So, but deal with it. Don't say that, okay, the person is saying no to it. Don't accept it, I would say. But try to fight a bit more and try to convince them saying, it can't be possible that you are right. But what's the big deal to have it try it on, And the data world is so good that, you have this option of doing A/B testing. I think it saves a lot from losing and also improves a lot from earning in future. So I think that's the best about data world, that you can do testings on it.
How do you ensure that your team and stakeholders have realistic expectations in data-driven roles?
For me, the best solution is to put everybody's thought in one pager. Look into what they are wanting for. If I'm currently I'm handling 5 different stakeholders, and you can imagine there could be a lot of ad hocs and a lot of projects going on, but it's not possible for me to do all of it, right? So what I do is have them all written down. Can we bucket them? Because sometimes it also happens that people are looking for the same thing. So bucket them, and if once you are bucketing them, understand, from the business perspective, when you have this, like I mentioned, have these discussions, have these brainstorming sessions with them, you will understand how important are this for the business. There are very small things which could be dealt with afterwards also. There are a few things which is actually so critical that you think and also would also love to do it because this is a lot of more data driven. So those are the things I look for when I'm actually brainstorming with the stakeholder. Identify the buckets, identify how better it will suit the business, identify then how much time it will take, and then basically lay it down to all of them. Be transparent. I think being transparent is also very good insight I would give, because there have been times when, when you are working for a consultancy firm, it has happened definitely that, you're not telling the client that it's still not realistic, but you want to do it because it's your client. But at the end of the day, they also need to know how realistic it is. Is it like you are doing like 24 hours of work? Not worth it, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to survive. You cannot die because of the work. So I think this is what exactly is like being transparent, telling them, how well this is actually related to the business, how important it is to they know if it is critical well enough. If they don't know how important it is, let's focus on prioritizing this and tell them that, being transparent, tell them, okay, this request which you have said, it does not look so critical, but we can handle this maybe in next quarter. I think being realistic is this. You tell them the roadmap at the end of the day. And then you are and there's nobody who will come and say, no, I don't think so, because at the end you are supporting other and not me. But at the end, if you are telling them the whole transparency that, this makes much more sense to do than the other one, I think they all come in one place and they are all on board, and you can actually set the realistic expectation from them. And one more side of this realistic is the one which I talked about, is they come with some question, but they are asking something else. And it's not exactly the reality which you're looking forward. Maybe they actually need something else. So that's also one portion to show them, okay, the reality is not this. The problem is not because of this, what you're asking for, maybe the other thing. So I would say the first step is definitely brainstorming, understanding from where they're coming from, then the priority, then setting them transparency, and then telling them the roadmap.
What can people learn from you to try and avoid as they move forward using your suggestions?
For the deep dive situation, I really think that sometimes when we have all this laid up, we are very caught on doing what we have already discussed. But like I said on the previous ground slide, when you have to communicate, you communicate in a layman term, right? So before even doing that, you think yourself, when you have done this XYZ to solve this problem, you ask yourself, do you think there is any other questions which needs to be answered to actually support this problem statement, to support the answer you have given to the problem statement? I think this is more important, that you question yourself, your analysis, your work you did, to understand, when you are presenting maybe the client or the stakeholder whom you are presenting, they can come up with more questions. So you have to think also yourself as a stakeholder that what else exactly is needed to support this. I think that also comes from experience. I would say that one and only when you're starting to talk with more people, talk with your stakeholder, understanding the business problem, then you do one step ahead, think one step ahead of what you actually have to do. So my best pick from all these years is one analysis you have been taken up and you have not done more you are asked for, then you are in loss. Because definitely there would be questions, there would be more thought process going when you start presenting to them. And you have to be one step ahead of them to tell them, this is the whole story and there is no loopholes and there can be no questions asked, because all questions are all answered in the whole deep dive you have done. So I think this is one good thing I would say, that this is where people fall off, because they go a lot of to and fro, and then the stakeholders start losing interest because they're not getting what they need in the right time, because you're doing a lot of to and fro. And that's where you can do a more better job if you are thinking one step ahead of them.
As we wrap up today, how would you implement this into, let's say, a new role, or if you've just gotten a promotion?
I think the main struggle for me would be definitely I'm changing a bit of domain here, because I worked mostly right now for marketing domain, and now I'll be mostly working for web product domain. more of a product analytics. So yes, I would be using all of these, especially the stakeholder management side, because there is a lot of going to be expectation because I'm joining as a senior lead analyst there. So there would be a lot of questions from the stakeholders that how am I going to fit in that role? Because right now there's nobody to do it. And there's everything over the place. I think what I would first start doing is to understand my stakeholders, communicate with them, understand where they're struggling, what is the critical parts of the business right now, where they really need to prioritize things. All of these work, which I have learned over the years, I think that's what will help me to actually cope up with the first 3 or 6 months, because that's when it's very crucial, right? You are joining a new company, nobody knows you, you have to make a mark there, right? So yes, and about the deep dives, I think that's what I'm saying. If I am actually doing something, what I would love to do is to go one step forward to them to know more about it. And you cannot expect that there are 10 different people and everybody will be overwhelmed with and I would say welcoming you and want to know more about you, want to know what you have in plate, right? What you're bringing in. I think you have to, if I am in that position, I have to take one step further to actually do that and make them understand, there's a lot more I think we can do. Let's discuss, let's have more connects, and let's understand where you're facing issues. I think this should be more from the point of my side, taking that interest and showcasing that, let's make this connection, let's make this relationship, and let's improve the company.
Just like a puzzle, each piece of advice from today can help you complete the bigger picture of a successful data career. And you can follow Rimta on LinkedIn and keep up with their latest insights. If you're ready for more pieces of the puzzle, then don't miss this interview with Nicholas Avasang on how to transform your business with data insights. This episode has been brought to you in partnership with our friends at Amplitude. So from me, Ross Webb, bye for now.